around the world, in France, Germany, Italy, India, England, all over the United States. So we have achieved this in a challenging environment. And for those of you who think we might be a nice family company that can do nice things, we have a unique share price methodology that emulates public markets, that trades every 6 months into a small group of people. We have about 500 shareholders. And our share price has gone up, compounded 15% a year for 25 years. So in the economic downturn, when most stocks went down, our share price only went up 11% that year. So we're not a nonprofit. We create value, and we're focused on all stakeholders. Now, let me walk you through the revelations that shaped the Barry Wehmiller Truly Human Leadership. The first was in 1997 in March. We bought a company in South Carolina, and I flew down there to be there. It was a $55 million company. And I flew down there, and they make machines that make bags of chips. They make the machine that forms the bag and fills the chips. And I went down there because a very old company, historic product line, a lot of aftermarket revenue. So I was going to meet with the customer service team. I was in the 7 o'clock, 7:30 in the morning, having a cup of coffee in the lunchroom. Nobody knew who I was, and so I was just observing behavior. And of course, in March, everybody's got the basketball pool in the office about which team's winning, which team's not winning. It was all about, and you could see people having fun. And the closer it got to 8 o'clock, you could just see the fun go out of their body to do their job. I don't even think you can say the word job with a smile, okay? I don't think you can say the word work with a smile. And I said to myself, in hindsight, why can't work be fun? Because that's when people express their gifts most fully in sporting events and extracurricular activity. So why can't we make work fun? And so I walked into a conference room with the customer service team with no agenda, and out of me popped some ideas. We're going to play a game. Whoever sells the most each week wins $100, and if the team makes the team goal 100. I had no idea where that idea came from. I'd never done it before. It wasn't on my agenda. But I was astounded what happened. First of all, they had 24 reasons that would not work. And I had 24 answers why it would, even though I'd never given an ounce of thought. And what we saw is a profound sense of joy come into their jobs because they could go home every night knowing exactly where they were. They knew where they were for the week. They knew where they were individually. They could talk to their family about it. And customer service improved, delivery improved, performance improved. Sales went up actually 20%. And so we learned from that, and we started applying this to other facets of our business where we could create some way people could have some fun and compete aligned with value creation for the organization. So that was the first revelation for me because I'd never tried it before, never seen it, and we saw profound changes in human behavior. The second, Cynthia and I are Episcopalians. We were at church. My mentor was the rector of our church. And I was inspired every week that somebody could stand up before us and inspire us to live a life of meaning and purpose. So I got up one week from church, and I looked over at Cynthia, and I said, Cynthia, I just realized something. She said, what's that? And I said, Ed's only got us for 1 hour a week, and we have people in our care for 40 hours a week. We are 40 more times powerful to impact people's lives than the church. We are, I said that day, in business, the most powerful force for good because of the time we have people in our care and the impact we make on our lives. So that was the second defining moment in my journey to truly human leadership. The third, and the one people relate to the most because as some of the fathers and mothers in this room will know that giving your daughter away at a wedding, seeing your daughter being married is a meaningful experience. I was at a wedding. A friend of mine was walking his daughter down the aisle, and everybody was oohing and ahhing how beautiful and precious she was. The father walked with great pride as he took his precious daughter down that aisle. As he got to the altar, he took the hand of his daughter, and he gave it to this young man, said, her mother and I give our daughter to be wed to this young man, and he sits down next to his wife, and they cuddle each other. Very cute. For some reason, again, my mind went to a totally different place. And I'm sure you imagine where it went, because I said to myself, that's not what that father wanted to say. That's what he was told to say at the rehearsal. What he wanted to say was, look at young man. Her mother and I brought this precious child into this world. We've given her every ounce of love we can give so she can be the person she's intended to be. And we expect through the marriage, the union of the two of you, for you to stand in and become a steward also of this precious young lady, as she will be to you, so she can be whoever she's meant to be. Do you understand that, young man? And I said to myself that day, all 11,000 of our people are somebody's precious child. They are no longer an engineer, an accountant, a receptionist, an assembly worker, a salesperson. They are somebody's precious child who my leadership will have a profound impact on their life. And nothing was ever the same again. Because when you view people no longer as functions for your success, but as somebody's precious life that has been entrusted to you, and that you know your initiatives will profoundly affect that life, it changes everything. It did for me, and that was the kind of the crowning moment of these three revelations that created truly human leadership. So I want to talk to you about our guiding principles. About this time, our marketing team was doing a video on the success of the company. The company was doing very well, growing through acquisitions. And we might have been 400 million then. And they came towards the end of the video, and they had all these great expressions from people. And they said, we want to kind of end with kind of an upbeat. So we want to talk in the compound growth rate of our sales, the profitability, the share price, our market share. And this, you have to understand the environment. The environment was the Enron scandal and the Monica Lewinsky scandal, where leadership in our country, in all facets of our country, government, business, was at the lowest point in probably history. People couldn't trust us. They couldn't believe in us. And I said to myself, you know, we define success all wrong in this country. We introduce people around money, power, and position. And I know many people with money, power, and position who have miserable personal lives. And so I said, again, out of me popped this thought. We are going to measure success by the way we touch the lives of people. Our shareholders, our customers, our suppliers, our bankers. That is how we're going to measure success. And that became our golden rule, upon which everything we do started there. So if we're going to do this, how is it going to affect the lives of people? So that has become a very powerful driving force because we know what we stand for. Now I want to tell you, we bought a company in Green Bay that Raj mentioned that makes about $200 million business that makes tissue equipment for people like Kimberly-Clark, Georgia Pacific. And 80-year-old company that we bought that was financially struggling dramatically. We took over the company, we brought production back from Brazil, but we were introducing these leadership principles. And so we had a global conference of all of our presidents in Green Bay, and the night before I got an email from the VP of Operations. He said, Bob, you know, the team has done some lean initiatives around our principles of caring for people, some unique ways of approaching lean. We call it L3. And you ought to go out and acknowledge what they've done before the meeting starts. I said, well, why don't you just invite them to come into our meeting? So these three gentlemen, UAW team members, one non-union team member, walked in front of all of our presidents the next morning. They came in at 7 o'clock in the morning and said, you're going to go talk. And they talked the language. They stood up in front of us. Steve was one of them. And they talked the language of business. We came together. We shared ideas. We improved quality. We reduced lead time. We reduced cost. We shipped it on time, and the customer was satisfied. It was all about numbers. The language of business is all about numbers. Again, I had another moment. The moment was, I looked at this gentleman, Steve, who I'd never met, who worked in assembly, and I said, Steve, how did it affect your life? Now, here's a guy that just walked in to do his job, and the chairman of the company's asked him how it affected his life. So what did he tell me? He told me the truth. He said, my wife is talking to me. And I said, I don't understand. He said, you know what it's like to work in a place before you bought the company, where you go into work every day, you punch in, you're told what to do.